Hey guys, day 7 of my studio vlog. It's Good Friday, so happy Easter to everyone. It's 1:10 in the afternoon. Just arrived basically to start setting up for guitar recording. There is still some construction work going on outside, but it's not too bad. It's also not raining for the first time I think this week. It's cold, but it's not raining. So that's good. The way I'm going to set up is I'm going to record sort of as a kind of effectively a wet, dry, wet setup. Whether then I can pick and choose what I want to use for the actual recording, and the aim is to basically make it feel kind of live sounding, not like tons of mistakes and out of tune guitars and all that kind of stuff live, but live in the sense of I've managed to, almost without exception, as I've submixed the drums, which is sounding really surprisingly good. I mean, I've not done anything fancy because I'm not a fancy drummer. I'm not an amazing drummer by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm really pleased with how they're sounding. So and they have a nice live vibe, and I've managed to, almost without exception, capture one take for each song. There's a couple of songs. There's at least one song, there may be two, I can't remember exactly which ones I used, but where there was like one edit between one section and another. But other than that, it's just a case of, I think there was one time when I dropped a stick, so obviously needed to cut that, and there was another point where I got confused where I was in the song and went into a chorus when it should have been a verse, something along those lines. But that's it. Other than that, everything is straight, and it's with having the room mics up, it's got a sort of big sort of live vibe to it, which again I'm really pleased with. Sounding really good, sounding like I've spent ridiculous amounts of money on drum stuff and microphones, which I have. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Just about to set up the guitars. So doing wet, dry, wet. So I'm going to spread out the amps across this back wall, sort of facing this way, and then sort of play into them really. Move my recording interface up to basically in front of me, so that it won't be in the way of the guitar, but it'll be kind of very close at hand, so I can work quickly. And because there's construction work still going on, nothing too heavy, but there is some work I can still hear. I'm going to be obviously recording rhythm parts first, which don't need much in the way of sort of room mics or anything like that kind of going on. So that's the first step, is get everything set up, and I'll show you that in a minute once I'm set up, which will probably take me an hour, but for you it'll just be like that. Okay, so I'm pretty much set up now for recording. In fact, I could record straight away. As you can see, I've got my trusty Sir on the chair ready to go with its Lava Patriot cable, Patriot coil cable rather, which is just one of the retro coils, just in red, white and blue colours, going into my pedal board, my sort of slave pedal board, because I need some fuzz tones for a couple of tracks, and then my main board. I explained how it's all wired up the other day, but what has changed is obviously the way the room is laid out. So over here you can see the right amplifier for the wet signal, and that is mic'd with a Audix i5, which is on an amp clamp, and then one of my trusty ribbon microphones that's kind of a little bit away, pointing down at it, so it doesn't get the full blast of the signal. And then you see the mic cables are well and truly away from any mains cables or anything like that. Just want to keep everything as isolated as possible. Possibly a little paranoid, but there you go. But they come round the side of the recording interface. Down there you can see the Lava ELC cable, which is purely there because I have to use it for my Ibanez guitars, because they don't accept right angled jacks, which is a pain. I do have a Lava retro coil on the way with a straight jack at one end, but that I only ordered in the spring break sale this last weekend, so obviously haven't got that yet. Also on this side we have one of my Shure Beta 27s that I used for the overhead mics for the drums, and that is set, I don't know that I can get far enough back to show you on this side, but it's set about 6 feet back from the wet amp, and if we look down the microphone you can see it's slightly offset. So the aim is for that to pick up the wet signal on this side and also the dry signal in the middle, which is the next amp. I'll show you. Now that's split before any of the Strymon effects, and we've got this has got the greenbacks in these two cabs. The others have got G12H30s in. Top cab is mic'd up with an SM57 pointing pretty much just at where the dust cap meets the cone and a little bit away, and then the bottom cab is mic'd up with a Beta 57A that's, if I come down to the side, you see is angled upwards, so it's to get a slightly darker tone because it's pointing further away, just more onto the paper. And then on the other side we have exactly the same setup with the other amp, the other wet amp, and again one of these set 6 feet back. So if I come around and show you the whole view, there you can see that the amps are well spaced apart, so I shouldn't get much in the way of interference between them, as well as the ambient mics being 6 feet back from the cabs. They are at least 12 feet apart, and I'm set up on the carpet here. As I say, all the mains cables are separate from the signal cables, which are separate from the microphone cables, well and truly isolated. And that's all just feeding into 8 channels on the Fire Studio. The other Fire Studio is back in my studio, in my apartment. Too many studios, which I used for submixing the drums earlier. And then what I've done is I don't know how easily this will show up, but I've created a track template in Sonar. Come on, zoom. Called guitar, and I've got the 5 channels set up like that, so I can literally just create a new track template or a new track folder from the template, click record, and I'm ready to go. If I decide I don't want to record the ambient mics, say for rhythm guitar, then that's okay, I won't record them. I can just turn off that track, but having it set up in a folder just makes life so much easier. And then we have my slide, my memory stick that I've been backing everything up onto and transferring it straight across to my desktop PC, and my Shure SRH 440 headphones. So there we go, that's the setup. Still pretty noisy outside, but I'll do some test recordings, set some levels, and see where we go from there. See you later. Okay, so I've just tracked the rhythm guitar parts to Can You Hear Me? And I can't wait really for you to hear what the sounds I'm getting. It's just sounding really massive. Basically what I've got is, pan one side, I've got this big sound using my Rufus fuzz with a sort of shimmer reverb and a bit crush delay. If I can remember where that is. Yeah, so that gave me this sort of huge tone. That was on the bridge pickup. So that's a kind of really huge tone. And then on the other side, I went for something rather different, which was using a Leslie and a big delay without any reverb at all, and I was kind of basically playing the kind of underlying riff of the piece, and that was on the middle pickup. It sounded a little something like this. Which again is just kind of monstrous. Now there's basically the as I thought, the ambient mics are not really cutting any, are not really being any use for my rhythm tracks. They'll come into their own with the lead stuff, and the lead on this track, interestingly enough, will be much cleaner than the rhythms. Which will be just a Sheba drive, with a reverse delay and the compressor and a little bit of reverb on, and that's very much a kind of sound that's almost twangy in a sense. I mean, it's not, but it's a kind of mildly overdriven tone. And it cuts through surprisingly well. So I can't wait for people to hear this, because it just sounds massive, but also really big. Sounds massive, but also really big. That's good. It's kind of not it's in your face, but it's not harsh. I guess is what I'm trying to say. So this lead tone over the top sounds a bit like this. So, as far as lead tones go, it's much more in keeping with where I'm at now. But I love the huge kind of wall of sound of fuzz, sort of that kind of fills up the space behind it. I'm really pleased with that. Now, what I'm thinking, and I've been thinking this a little bit over the last couple of days, and certainly listening back to the tracks this morning, is that at the moment I'm happier, I think, with the instrumental tracks than I am with the songs. So probably, I've got the 5 instrumental tracks. I may just release those as an EP for now, and then work on the songs over time, and hopefully either get someone else to sing them or sing them when I'm happy with my voice, but not rush them. So my first priority will be to get the rhythm and lead tracks for the 5 instrumentals done today. If I get a chance to work on any of the guitar parts for the other stuff, I will, but it's not that big a hardship to set up for recording guitar. I can do it on a Saturday or something if I need to in here. So, or Sunday afternoon, or who knows. So that's my plan at this stage. I'll let you know how I get on by the end of the day. So I'm tracking Reflections, and I figured this song would be the ideal time to bring out the Nashville strung guitar, to kind of double the rhythm part and provide a bit of kind of chordal accompaniment. I may well track an acoustic guitar as well on top of this, just to sort of blend them together, just to provide a bit of meat, not to make it appear like a second part, but just to make it sound a bit maybe like 12 string or something. Anyway, so the sound I've got going on here is basically I have the Jackrabbit trem, the Koji comp on. I've got a basic pan delay in time with the recording on the timeline. I've got quite a thick chorus on the Mobius, and then for the strummed parts I've got a plate reverb, I believe it's called Dinner Plate, on the Big Sky, and then for the picked parts I switch across to a chorale or chorus, chorale reverb. It's called Epiphany, and it's probably just a slightly modified preset. But anyway, let me just play to you what these two things sound like. So that's kind of, on its own, might sound a bit kind of harsh. It's certainly a kind of slightly ethereal, shimmery kind of effect. But mixed together with the main rhythm guitar, just playing the arpeggiated pattern, the looping pattern, it blends really well. Just sort of mixed low in the mix. As I say, I'll probably double it with an acoustic. But I just wanted to play you that sound because I was really happy with how it was sounding. See you later. So I'm just having a brief respite between tracking, just trying to warm the place up a bit because it's gone pretty cold in Hong Kong today, and as a result of it being cold, my back is playing up. Also, the chair wasn't very comfortable. So I thought I would just first of all let you know where I'm up to, which is I have one more rhythm guitar part. I've got the Nashville part to do for Road Back Home, and then I've just got Down the River to do in terms of the instrumental songs, which is all I'm going to try and get done today. So I'm going to work on the songs in the future, but it was a case of getting the drums sorted for them was the key. But I thought I would just point out that I'm not using my usual plectrums for this recording, which may seem a bit strange, but as you know, I've used V-picks, small pointed lights, for 4.5 years probably, and really got on well with them, and I still would always use them for live, I think, because of the way that they grip the hand. But for recording I've been using these little, I don't know how easy it is to see, but they are the Dario Planet Waves Black Ice picks, and I use mostly the 1.1mm, which is the heavy, but also the 1.5mm, which is the extra heavy. I also got coming tomorrow with my parents some mediums and some lights, which would be ideal for acoustic guitar strumming parts where you want something lighter sometimes. So and reason being twofold. One is that the V-picks do give you a bit of a kind of clack sound when they hit the strings, which live you don't notice, and in fact it helps you cut through a bit, but for recording it's very subtle, but it's there and it can irritate you, whereas these they're just a little bit softer. They're still convenient size and they've got a good point on them and stuff, so they're very comfortable. Because I used to play Jazz 3s back in the day before I went to V-picks, and these are very, very slightly bigger than Jazz 3s, so they're a little bit easier in the hand. I like that you can get the different sizes of them. They're very smooth, very comfortable, so really liking these. Try them on a whim, because let's face it, V-picks are like £5 each, and these are £3.50 for 10. So it makes a considerable difference when you're sort of stocking up. And I am looking to get some V-picks. I'm looking to get some custom V-picks if any ever replies to my email. But yeah, for now these are working for me in the studio. So live, probably keep on using V-picks because of the way that the material grips your hands when you sort of get hotter. They become stickier rather than slippier, which is kind of cool and kind of unique thing about those. But yeah, who would have thunk it? The Dario Planet Waves Black Ice picks, really cheap, sound great, very comfortable. Okay, it's 6:45. I've just finished recording all the rhythm parts to the 5 instrumentals. Got some interesting tones going on. The final thing I've just recorded is a little slide guitar part for the chorus of Down the River, which is very simple. It just outlines the chords and goes a little something like this. So yeah, completely straightforward part, but that was the final thing I had to record other than lead parts, which I will do once I've gone and had some dinner and kind of relaxed a bit. I'll come back later on this evening and record them when I'm in the right kind of frame of mind for recording leads. I brought my longer strap along so that I can play the guitar stood up in a more comfortable position, because even changing chairs to this one, my back is starting to complain. So I'm going to, as I say, just finishing backing up the stuff I've done this afternoon, and yeah, gonna go and have some dinner, chill out. I'll take a couple of guitars back across with me, and then come back later. If I don't get everything finished later, then I will finish stuff off in the morning. But this is going to be the end of this update because it's been long enough. So yeah. Until tomorrow, have a good one.